Episode 1358 of the Multifamily Collective. Today I'm going to try something new and sprinkle it in maybe once a week or a little more often if it makes sense. And that is really opining on articles that I read. I read a lot of information about multifamily and other things, but I thought it would be interesting to just sort of opine on things that I read. Something I read this morning, which is not new. I think it happened last summer or potentially early in the year last year when Alfred brought in an apartment community. So they're a prop tech provider, but they purchased or acquired CREA management and also, I believe, RKW residential at some point. And it really allowed them the opportunity, basically buying an audience for their service, right? Buying customers for their service. And I think that's an interesting concept. I certainly think it's a shrewd strategy as it relates to bringing in more customers. It brought to mind when Amazon bought Whole Foods. In my head, they weren't really buying a bunch of end user customers. They were rather buying a big, very big customer for their grocery business. But it's along the same lines in some respects. So my my interesting question here, the thing that it seems interesting to me is that if prop tech companies own residential property, multifamily communities, and they're continuing to try to sell their service into the multifamily space at large, do you run the risk of uh, cutting that market off? So if I'm a competitor with a multifamily building and the owner of that multifamily building is a prop tech provider, am I going to buy the prop tech provider service? I don't know. It's an interesting question. There seems to be a little bit of a conflict of interest there. Um, it would be similar to property management companies owning their own marketing firms, creative marketing firms internally, and then selling and providing those services out into the marketplace. That exists today. I know in a couple of different property management companies, they own their own creative services. And I believe that they do sell those services into the broader market. So I'm just interested, would you do business? And if you would do business with those providers, what kind of boundaries would you have to put in place or sort of mechanisms that would ensure that you weren't being served differently than the wholly owned asset uh, that is owned by the prop tech company? So I'm interested and curious, and we'll talk to you again soon. Thanks.